All right, is everybody back? Let's see now. Who are we missing?
Oh, can everyone hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. I changed devices. That's why I just want to make sure. Thanks.
I think we're missing our executive officer, the member Dr. McIntyre, and member Sims.
Member Sims is here.
Oh, okay. For whatever reason, I can't. Oh, there you are.
Mr. President, just legally speaking, you don't need your EO in order to start the petition process or to allow your ALJ to handle petitions. If you have any direction otherwise about whether she should be present, that's one thing, but I just want to let you know there's nothing prohibiting you from starting.
All right. Fine. I'm trying to load up the petitions. Is board staff on the? Because we're in open session right now, right? Is that correct? We're not in closed session.
That's correct. You're in open session until after the petitions.
Right. And do we have any board staff on the line? Because I'm having problems opening up the folder with the petitions.
While they are maybe responding to you, it might also be helpful to go ahead and get a roll call just to determine you have a quorum before you begin.
This is Natalia. I'll try and figure out where everyone else went.
Okay, thank you. Dr. McIntyre, do we have a quorum?
Oh, well, let me find out.
Okay.
We have Dr. Wong,
Present.
Dr. Turetsky,
Still here.
Ms. Sims,
Present.
Ms. Linden, Ms. Linden.
Here.
Okay. Dr. Garcia,
Present.
Ms. Brandwein,
Present.
Dr. Calgucci,
Here.
and Mr. Morodomi, you're here. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, I'll call the meeting to order, but there are some technical problems that I'm experiencing. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place.
Mr. Mordormi, Cherie Kimball is going to email you the documents if you are unable to open them.
Yeah, am I at the wrong place? I'm in the open session agenda listing and clicking on board agenda item 10, petitions, and it's giving me the message, sorry, the preview didn't load, this document may be protected. Should I be looking in the closed session folder?
Mr. Morodomi, this is Cherie Kimball, and yes, you should be looking in the closed session folder.
Okay,
That's where the petition items are. No worries.
Okay. Let me find that. All right. Let's see now. Judge Washington, shall we go ahead and start the proceedings? I've caught up.
Yes, I'm ready to get started if you are.
All right. I think we're ready.
Okay. And before I go on the record, I did want to mention to Ms. Melgren, be sure that you stay on the meeting once we conclude the hearing so I can be sure I have the estimated number of pages and stop times from you. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Then with that said, let's get started. Give me 1 second here. All right, let's go on the record. We are here to review 2 petitions for the reduction of penalty or early termination of probation of Sarah Lynn Lampers and Dr. John S. Sun. These matters are being heard before the Board of Optometry. Will all members of the board please identify themselves for the record? I know we did this
Mark.
offline, but if we can do this on the record, that'd be great.
All right, I'll go first. Mark Mordomi, president of the board.
Thank you.
Glenn Kawaguchi, vice president of the board.
Thank you.
Lillian Wong, professional member.
Sid Brandvine, public member.
Sandra Sims, public member.
Uni Linden, public member.
David Turetsky, public member. Well, excuse me, professional member. I'm forgetting already.
Jeffrey Garcia, professional member.
All right, and did we hear from Dr. McIntyre?
Excuse me, Deborah McIntyre, professional member.
Okay. Thank you very much. A quorum of the board is present. My name is Ed Washington. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings, and I have been assigned to preside over these matters. I don't use WebEx very often, so if I'm looking around a bit, bear with me. But is Ms. Lampers or Dr. Sun also on the call at this time? I can only see a certain number of people.
Sarah Lampers is on.
Okay.
This is John Sun. I'm on. I was muted.
Okay, excellent. And I assume you can both fine. I'm going to go through some instructions really briefly, just to give you some idea as to how this matter will proceed. Essentially, you'll have your opportunity to present your case under oath, and the Deputy Attorney General. And if you could state your appearance for the record, Ms. Alamo Latif, I'd appreciate it. I think I jumped right over you there.
Yes, thank you. Stephanie Alamo Latif, Deputy Attorney General. I'm appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Government Code Section 11522, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the board in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. And so what will happen, Ms. Lampers and Dr. Sun, is Ms. Alamo Latif will provide a background essentially on your cases to give us some understanding as the history and what caused your licenses to be disciplined. And then you'll have the opportunity under oath to present your case. Keep in mind, we have your full petitions and have reviewed them, so you don't need to necessarily go through the petitions line. What I generally recommend is that you focus on things that you think are either extenuating circumstances surrounding the underlying events that led to the discipline of your license and or certificates, or more importantly, at least from where I sit, focus on rehabilitation and what you have done since the incident has occurred to demonstrate that you are entitled to what you have requested through your petition. Does that make sense, Ms. Lampers?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and same for you, Dr. Sun?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and once you've done that, I will then allow the Deputy Attorney General to ask any questions that they have, and we will also then have the board subject you to questions to the extent they have questions. Is that understood?
Yes.
Okay. And just to be clear, are you both representing yourselves today?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And do either of you have any witnesses that you would like to have testify on your behalf today other than yourselves?
Somebody present? I don't have anyone else present here.
Okay, and just to be clear, and I know you don't do this every day, I'm simply asking whether or not you had intended to have anyone testify today besides yourself.
No.
Okay, Ms. Lampers?
No.
All right, so I think we have covered everything. So are you ready to get started? Well, I assume you are. Do you have any questions? Ms. Lampers?
No.
Dr. Sun?
No.
Okay, then with that said, let's begin with the Lampers matter. And again, I will state the entire case. We are proceeding with the matter of the petition for reduction of penalty or early termination of probation of Sarah Lynn Lampers, OAH case number 2021-050-104. The board number that I have is 800-2016-023377. Ms. Lampers is present and representing herself. At this point, would the Deputy Attorney General please make a background presentation for this matter?
Yes, thank you. The board issued petitioner a spectacle lens dispenser registration and a contact lens dispenser registration on July 10th, 2014. On June 13th, 2017, an accusation was filed against petitioner. Effective April 20th, 2018, the stipulated settlement in the matter was adopted as the final decision, revoking petitioner's registration, staying the revocation, and placing her on probation for 5 years. The discipline was based upon her alcohol-related conviction in 2016. Petitioner signed the petition for reinstatement in this case on October 12th, 2020. Her request for reduction of penalty or early termination is based upon her written petition and supporting documents, which will be identified in the exhibit binder for the record. And because the burden is on petitioner, I have no further statements, but I reserve the right to question her.
Okay, thank you. And would you like to enter the exhibits into evidence at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 1 is the jurisdictional document of the notice of hearing, and we're offering that for jurisdictional purposes.
Okay. The document described by counsel has been marked as Exhibit 1 and is admitted to evidence for jurisdictional purposes.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 2 is the certification of license history for petitioner. We're offering to admit that into evidence.
All right. The document described has been marked as Exhibit 2 and is admitted into evidence.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 3 is a redacted petition packet submitted by petitioner. Included in that packet is her written petition, a typed statement, 3 character reference letters, 22 CE certificates, information from First Lab related to drug tests and payments. And there were 3 additional documents that petitioner submitted separately than the hearing binder. Those were sent around this morning, so I'm not sure if everybody has received those. Hopefully they have. I will identify them very briefly. They are, one is a form from Leaders in Community Alternatives. One is a DMV Notice of Completion certificate. And the third is a MAD proof of completion. I'm not quite sure if the court and the board members have those last 3 documents.
Okay, and just to be clear, the last document was referred to as a MAD proof of completion, just so the record is clear, that's for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And I have received those documents. I'm not sure if all the board members have. If anyone doesn't have them, please speak up now. Okay, based on the silence, I believe everyone has received them. If not, again, please let us know. Otherwise, you may proceed, Ms. Alamo-Latif.
Right, and that should be all the documents included in that should be included in the petition packet in Exhibit 3. We're asking to introduce that into evidence.
Okay, so did you want the additional documents to be included as part of the petition packet Exhibit 3?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Those additional documents have been included in what has been identified and now marked as Exhibit 3, and Exhibit 3 is admitted into evidence.
And lastly, what's been pre-marked as Exhibit 4 is the final board decision in order placing petitioner on probation that was effective the final board decision, Your Honor, and that was effective on April 20th, 2018. We're offering to admit that into evidence.
Okay, that document is marked as Exhibit 4 for identification and has been admitted into evidence. If there's nothing
And
further,
that is,
go ahead.
yes, that's all the exhibit binder, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lampers, are you ready to present your petition?
Yes.
Are you connected via audio only or by video as well?
It's audio only. Do I need to turn my video?
If it's convenient, and just to be clear, here's what I generally tell witnesses is if it's convenient, my preference is to see the individuals who are testifying. It's sometimes a little more helpful in terms of assessing their credibility and understand statements that they're making a little more clearly. However, considering that people are generally in their homes, sometimes with others around, or maybe in rooms that they don't want to display, I have no issues whatsoever with you keeping your camera off. I just wanted to be sure I wasn't missing a video connection
Okay.
top of my screen. So I'll leave it up to you, but don't feel pressured in any way to turn your camera on if you don't want to.
I turned it on. I'm not familiar with WebEx, but it said sending video, so I'm not sure if you can see or not.
Okay, and I'm not very familiar with WebEx either. I don't see you at this point.
I see you.
Okay, so it's my issue then. I'll give me one moment. Maybe there's something with the layout I can change here. I don't see your name at all either. So I'm not going to delay everyone trying to figure. Oh, now I see your name. Excellent. All right. Thank you for your patience. Are you ready to proceed, Ms. Lampers?
Yes.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you provide today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. You may lower your hand. And now would you please state and spell both your first and last name for the record?
Sarah Lampers, SarahLampers.
All right, thank you. So, Ms. Lampers, if you had retained counsel to represent you today, they would ask you questions to elicit whatever testimony or evidence you felt was important to support your petition. What I generally tell individuals who represent themselves is just tell us what you want us to know, and as I mentioned, focus on those things that you believe are the most critical or persuasive in terms of your petition. Understood?
Yes.
Okay, one other thing before you get started is because we have a court reporter that's taking down everything that's being stated, it's important that we follow a few rules. One is that I would like you to ensure that you speak loudly and clearly so that the court reporter will have a clear and create a clear transcript. It's also important that we speak one at a time. It's common in everyday conversation to sort of speak over each other because you can anticipate what the other person's going to say, but it's extremely difficult for the court reporter to take down two people speaking at once, and it's very difficult over this video feed to hear two people speaking at once. So be sure that you pause briefly at being questioned before providing your answer, and for everyone that's asking you questions, I will ask that we all be sure that you finish your response before asking you the next question. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. The last thing I will add is try to avoid nods and shakes of the head for the same reason. It's difficult to interpret what those mean or insert them in a transcript. The same with sounds like mm-hmm, mm-mm, and uh-huh. All right?
Okay.
Okay. So with that said, you may proceed when ready.
Okay. I just want the court to know that I know I am at 100% at fault for what happened. I made a horrible decision. I chose to drink and drive, and I have spent 5 years trying to make that right. I've followed every single thing that's been asked of me. I've completed DUI classes. I've done house arrest. I have completed MAD class. I completed a 52-week parenting class. I've submitted to every drug test, random drug testing for the past 3 years through the medical board. AA is a strong part of my life. I have a sponsor now. Well, I have for about 4 years now. My DUI happened 5 years ago, and I have learned tremendously from that. I've been promoted to manager since then. I'm up to date on all my CE courses. I'm over on most of them that is required for my renewals. I got married during that time. I bought a house. You know, I've done all these things without any alcohol. I understand fully that alcohol is not a necessity of life. That will continue to remain a part of my, AA. All of that will continue to remain even after this. And I am just truly sorry for my decisions, that it jeopardized my licensing. I've submitted letters from my employer. I am dependable. I do take my job seriously. I take my licensing seriously. Is there anything else that you need from me? I'm sorry, I'm not sure where I go from here.
Not a problem. Sure, it's not something that you do every day. So again, this is your opportunity to make your presentation, essentially to tell us everything that you want us to know. To the extent Alamo Latif wants any additional information, they will ask you, and then you can respond. And also, one other advisory, and again, I know people generally get nervous during
Yes.
situations like this. If you need a break or need a few minutes to gather your thoughts, I think we can do that within, with some limits. But if you need a short break, just feel free to speak up, and we'll see if we can accommodate you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like to state before I turn things over for questions?
No, not other than like I've complied with all probation. I have not been in trouble since. I've paid all my court fines with both the Superior Court. I'm no longer on probation. I've paid all my fees to the medical board court also. And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And once we have questions, I'll circle back to see if anything else may have come to mind that you might want to mention, all right?
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Alamo Latif, you have questions for Ms. Lampers?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Lampers, your petition said that you were working at Walmart at the time that you filled it out. Are you still working at Walmart?
Yes, I am.
And have you been working there since 2014?
Yes.
What are your current duties?
I'm a vision center manager. So I'm in charge of hiring, firing, finances. I oversee 4 opticians. I dispense glasses, I dispense contacts, input prescriptions, verify prescriptions. And that's it.
Thank you. The discipline in this case was based upon your DUI conviction. Did you complete all the requirements of your criminal court probation?
Yes, I did.
And that included completion of a DUI first offender program, is that correct?
Yes.
And also you have submitted the completion certificate for MAD, is that correct?
Yes.
And then the judge had identified that's Mothers Against Drunk Driving, correct?
Yes.
And did you serve any jail time?
I did house arrest for 28 days. And I think it was 2 days in jail, yes.
And you also completed, was it 52 weeks of a parenting class?
Yes.
When did your criminal probation end?
I believe it was this past April.
Did you serve the full 4 years of the probation term?
Yes, I did.
Since your conviction was in September, 4 years will put you right around September of 2020. Did you end probation
I'm
in
sorry.
April or sometime in September?
Yes. No, I'm sorry. It was September. I waited until I was off probation to apply for my petition. You're right. I'm sorry.
Okay. And while on criminal court probation, did you have any violations of probation, of your
No.
criminal probation?
No.
Your typed statement that you submitted with your petition says that you haven't drank in over 4 years. You also referenced some AA meetings. Do you have a sobriety date?
I do. It was my DUI was May 26th, and it was that day. I mean, the day I got to jail, I have not drank since then. So I'm over 5 years, or 5 years and the 26th.
And explain a little bit about AA to us. Do you currently attend AA?
Before COVID, yes, I went to meetings twice a week. Right now, I do like Zoom meetings, and I'm part of a women's email group. It's worldwide. I work with my sponsor, and I work a 12-step program with my sponsor.
What step are you on?
I'm on step 4. Making a fearless. I'm so sorry. I'm so nervous. A searching and fearless moral inventory of myself.
What step up to now has been the hardest for you?
I think coming to believe in a power greater than myself.
How often do you keep in contact with your sponsor?
Weekly, if not more than
How
that.
do you,
Sorry.
How do you communicate with your sponsor?
Over the phone and in person. Our kids get together. We do family functions together. We have friends within AA that we all get together with. It's been hard this past year with COVID, but we do get together frequently, and I do go to meetings, and I've been doing meetings since my initial DUI. I mean, before my medical board probation began.
Was AA required for your criminal court probation, or is that something that you're doing on your own?
It was required only like 6 meetings for my DUI class, and that's something that I've continued by myself since then, and I love it, to be honest.
If they do go back to in-person meetings, are you intending to keep attending AA?
100%, yes.
Do you participate in any other support groups?
No, I do not.
Have you attended any alcohol rehabilitation programs?
No, I mean, I just did like the DUI class and I did the MAD class, but like a rehab, no, I did not.
Have you attended any counseling?
Well, I did a parenting class and that was a year of counseling and help for parents, yes.
Other than the parenting class, have you attended any counseling?
No, I have not.
How do you maintain your sobriety today?
I'm AA. I mean, I have a strong support system. I have a lot of friends within AA that I've found. We're actually going on an AA vacation next month, just with a few of our families. AA, it is a very strong support system. I send and receive emails daily in the women's group that I was telling you about. It's not as close as in person, but it is a continuous contact and a continuous, awareness of having that support group. And that is how I stay clean.
You mentioned being required to attend, it was about 6 classes of AAs for your criminal court probation.
Yes.
Was complete abstinence from alcohol part of the terms of your criminal probation?
I don't believe that was a term of my probation, no. But I did on my own.
In your typed statement that you submitted with your petition, you mentioned that completing community service hours took time away from your family. Is the community service that you're referencing to, is that the terms of your probation of the 16 hours per week?
Yes.
What do you do for community service?
It's at a childcare. I sanitize, I help meal prep. There are learning activities for the week based on age group. A lot of cleaning and sanitizing.
And I apologize, I believe I said per week, it's per month, is that correct?
16 hours per month, correct.
Yeah, okay, thank you. If you are released from that term, do you intend to participate in any community service?
I do, and I do whenever possible. Like I volunteer since vaccines have been started. I volunteer every chance I get at vaccine clinics at my job. I do, and I do continue, even the lady that I do community service for, to continue helping her. When there's, my job has like low cost clinics where we go out and we help low income, where we do, school charity things. We do a lot of things, and I do plan on doing that, and I do any chance I get. Yes.
Thank you. Are you currently in compliance with all the terms and conditions of your board probation?
I am, yes.
And you've paid all the cost recovery, is that correct?
Yes, I have.
Now you have submitted 3 character reference letters with your petition. 2 of them are dated July and August 2020, and 1 is undated. Were those letters written for this petition hearing?
Yes, they were. But my petition was, my petition was originally supposed to be February 26th, but it got postponed. So that's why the letters are dated back a bit.
Is Lori Schmidt your current supervisor at Walmart?
Yes, she is.
Does she know about the board's discipline and probation?
Yes, she does.
And is the letter from Crystal Charette, is that your sponsor?
Yes, it is.
And she's still your sponsor?
Yes, she is.
Is she aware of the board's discipline and probation?
Yes, she is.
And lastly, there's a letter from Nicole Lampers. Who is that?
That's my sister.
So she talks about terminating probation early. I'm assuming she's aware of the board's discipline and probation. Is that correct?
Yes, she is.
Ms. Lampers, how do you feel about the circumstances that led to the incident that initially put your license on probation?
I feel that I have no excuse. I made the worst decision I've ever made in my life. It's humiliating. It was a decision that I will live with forever, and I am so sorry, and I am so mad at myself for putting myself in this situation. And I have no excuse. I mean, there wasn't something horrible that happened that led to that. I made a horrible decision because of alcohol, and I'm kind of grateful for this probation and for it showing me how horrible that decision was. I feel horrible about it. I mean, I have no excuse for it. I'm very, very sorry for everything that it's caused. You know, I paid tens of thousands of dollars towards just drug tests and fees and fines, and I should be saving for my son's college in 3 years and spending time with them instead of community service. And I feel selfish. It was a selfish decision that I made. And I'm 100% to blame for it. I don't know. That's it.
Thank you. Your petition says that you feel that your disciplinary penalty should be reduced and your license restored. Just to clarify, are you asking this board to terminate your probation completely or just to reduce certain terms and conditions?
To terminate completely.
You have only served 3 of 5 years of your probation. Why should the board grant early termination of your probation when you agreed to 5 years?
I just feel that I'm ready. It's been a big hardship financially, but I've completed more than half. I feel that I've shown that I've grown. You know, I've been promoted. I bought a house, I got married. I have a strong support system, and I hope that the court can see that I've tried my absolutely hardest to make this right. However, if the board decides that they can reduce any of it, then I'm okay with that too.
That was going to be my next question, Ms. Lampers. If the board does not terminate your probation, but just reduces some of the terms and conditions, what would you like to see reduced?
Well, the drug tests, I sent an invoice in the past 3 years, just for the medical board lab. I've spent $7,300, and that's only half of it because I pay every time I go as well. I've maxed out credit cards from this, which I know this is my punishment, so I'm not here saying that I don't deserve this, but I spend a lot of hours working already, and then the community service time, it's a lot. It's
Thank you, Ms. Lampers. Your criminal court probation just ended. in November of 2020. If the board grants termination of this probation, then you will no longer be drug tested and you will be no longer under the watchful eyes of the criminal court or this board. Now, I know that you have indicated that you intend to continue on AA meetings. What assurances can you give the board that you will not go back to drinking when you're not going to be drug tested anymore?
I can promise that this will never happen again. I never want to go through this again. I have 100% learned my lesson. I know I made a huge mistake and I will never put myself in that situation again. AA is a part of my life now. Like, I have friends, basically family, that I've met there, and that's not going to change. I mean, all I can do is promise you that this will never happen again. I've learned.
Thank you, Ms. Lampers. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, counsel. And so before I turn questions over to the board, I had one question for you, Ms. Lampers. Looking at the materials that were included with your petition, the accusation identifies disciplinary considerations. And one thing that I noticed is that there were multiple convictions for driving while your license was suspended. I was wondering if you could shed any light on what was going on at that time or why you chose to continue to drive while your license was suspended.
You mean my past, from the past?
Yes. I think they were listed as disciplinary considerations because of the age, but I'd still like to have some background or some information about that if you can recall. Looks like they were in 2009, 2010.
Yes, I was 18. I had my first child. I got a ticket for not stopping all the way on a on a red light, and I didn't pay the ticket. And so my license was suspended, and I continued to drive with no license. So I couldn't afford the ticket. I'm in a much better place in my life today.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And so at this point, I'd like to turn questioning over to the board. Would you like to start, President Mordomi?
Sure, I just have one question. Ms. Lampers, I'm looking at your exhibits, and I was just curious what the document at the top it says, looks like LCA, and looks like some sort of schedule. What is LCA? What is this document? What is this document?
That was part of my probation for the court. It was 28 days of house arrest. I was able to go to work and come home, and I was on house arrest.
Oh, so that's what the
Yes.
LCA organization accounts for. I see. Okay, that's all the question. That's the only question I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Kawaguchi.
Thank you, Ms. Lampers. So thank you for having the courage to represent yourself. My question to you is, through all of this, you chose to stay in this profession. Can you tell us why?
I worked 3 jobs to put myself, I'm sorry. I worked 3 jobs to get here. I had 3 kids. I've been a single mom until now. I recently got married, but I worked so hard to get here. I worked minimum wage as a housekeeper. I'm sorry. At Motel 6. And I worked so hard to put myself in school to be here. The fact that I made this decision that would jeopardize how hard I worked, I went to school full time. I worked 2 jobs. I lived off of 3 hours of sleep for years, and this is my goal. I have never been more proud of myself. When I had 3 young children, I went back to school and got my GED, I just made such huge steps to get to where I was at, and it's not something I'm gonna fight to stay where I am. You know, I don't ever want to leave where I'm at. I love doing this, and I'm proud of myself for being here.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Dr. Kawaguchi?
No, that's it.
All right, Dr. McIntyre?
I have no questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Branting?
Yes, no questions for me. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Garcia?
No question, just a comment. I also agree. We all commend you for your strength and courage to persevere and to work hard for your family. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Tereski?
Just a comment. Congratulations on your sobriety and keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you.
Dr. Wong?
I don't have no questions. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Linden?
No questions, Your Honor.
And Ms. Sims?
No questions.
All right. I don't have any additional questions myself, so my question to you, Ms. Lampers, is there anything that you've thought of that you would like to add based on the questions from myself, the Deputy Attorney General, or the board?
No, I have no questions, and thank you for hearing me today.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your testimony. Again, we know and can appreciate and see that it's not easy for you. So I'd like to thank you for that and officially excuse you from the witness stand. And since there is no additional evidence to be presented in this matter, this case is submitted and we are off the record.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so with that said, Ms. Lambers, you are free to go. We have another matter to hear today, but you do not have to stay connected to the proceeding
Okay.
if you don't want
Thank
to.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam Court Reporter, if I can just get the estimated time and number of pages from you.
Yes, Your Honor. I have ending time as 2:49, and I have 50 pages, 50.
Thank you very much. Did you need a short break before we start again? Maybe 5 minutes or so?
Yes, Your Honor, so I can start and stop and start my computer.
Okay, well, just to be safe, in case anyone has to make a restroom break, let's make it 10, so it's a 2:49, so I'd like us to take a break and come back at 3 o'clock.
Thank you.
Does that work for you or for everyone?
Yes. Yes, it does. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
So we turn it back. Here.
So you can see us when your phone is sideways?
I see myself. I don't see anybody. It's like a selfie video.
Right. Then if that's the case, I'd recommend that you turn it back the way you just had it, so at least we can see you upright rather than sideways.
Does that work?
It works for us.
Okay. Try to set this up. Okay.
All right, and it looks like everyone is back from what I can tell. Are you there, Miss Melbourne?
I'm here, Your Honor.
All right. Any questions, Dr. Sun, before we go on the record?
No.
All right, then let's go back on the record. We are on the record in the matter of the petition for reduction of penalty or early termination of probation of Dr. John S. Sun, The OAH matter, the OAH number for this matter is 2021050. Stand by, that is the wrong OAH number, so stand by just one moment. The OH number for this matter is 20210500106. The agency number for this matter is 4202016000666, according to what I could see in the files that have been provided to me by my office. May I take the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General again, please?
Stephanie Alamo Latif, Deputy Attorney General, appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Government Code Section 11522, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the board in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but intended to protect the public interest. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And we have established earlier that we have a quorum, and it appears that everyone is still here. So, Dr. Sun, you heard my instructions earlier with respect to how we intended to proceed and the rules regarding speaking over each other and speaking one at a time and the things that we need to do to make sure we create a clear record, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so my expectation is you will follow those instructions as well.
Yes.
Okay, and with that said, I am ready to hear the presentation of the background by Ms. Alamo Latif.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. The board issued petitioner an optometrist license on July 28, 1999. On May 14, 2018, an accusation was filed against petitioner's license. The case went to hearing, and effective July 18, 2019, petitioner's license was revoked, the revocation was stayed, and the license was placed on probation for 2 years. The discipline was based upon his alcohol-related conviction in 2017 and the underlying act of use of alcohol in a dangerous or injurious manner in February of 2016. Petitioner signed the petition for reinstatement in this case on November 30th, 2020. Petitioner's request for reduction of penalty or early termination is based upon his written petition and the supporting documents, which I will identify in Exhibit 3 of the hearing binder. And because the burden is on petitioner, I have no further statements, but do reserve the right to question him. Thank you. At this time, Your Honor, I'd like to introduce the hearing binder.
You may proceed.
Thank you. What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 1 is jurisdictional documents. It's the notice of hearing. We're offering that for jurisdictional purposes.
All right, the document described by counsel has been marked as Exhibit 1 and is admitted for jurisdictional purposes only.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 2 is the certification of license history for petitioner. We're offering to admit that into evidence.
Exhibit 2 is admitted into evidence.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 3 is a redacted petition packet. Included in the petition packet is petitioner's written petition and 9 character reference letters. We are offering Exhibit 3 into evidence.
Is it just me or did we lose Judge Washington?
Yes, I believe we lost him.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, did you lose me for a second? I lost everyone.
Yes, we lost you.
Okay. So I'm not sure if it is my connection or not, but what I'm going to do, or what helps sometimes, is to turn the video off. I don't think you need to see my scruffy face anyhow, as long as I can talk to everyone and you can hear me. I think that's satisfactory because I get the sense I've got a weak Wi-Fi connection today. So I'm going to turn off my camera. And Madam Court Reporter, did you hear me at all about going on and off the record a moment ago?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Okay, and that's fine. Since the disconnection was brief, we'll just continue to proceed.
Okay.
Last I heard, counsel, you were describing Exhibit 3.
Yes, I'll describe it because I don't know where we left off. It's just very briefly, it's a petition for reinstatement of respondent, his written petition, and 9 character reference letters. And we are offering to admit Exhibit 3 into evidence.
All right, Exhibit 3 is admitted.
And what's been pre-marked as Exhibit 4 is the final board decision in order, placing petitioner on probation. And that was effective July 18th, 2019. We're asking to admit Exhibit 4 into evidence.
The document described by counsel has been marked as Exhibit 4 and is admitted into evidence.
And that completes our hearing binder. And I have no further statements at this time. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Sun, are you ready to proceed?
Yes.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you provide today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you very much. You may lower your right hand. And now that you're under oath, please state and spell both your first and last name for the record.
John S. Sun, it's John, middle initials S, last name S-O-N.
All right, thank you very much. As I mentioned earlier, we're interested in hearing about rehabilitation evidence primarily, and obviously any extenuating circumstances related to your license being disciplined, and you may proceed when ready.
I'm sorry, it's just hearing the previous Ms. Lampers. I'm kind of broken because so much of what I went through shadowed her experience, but yeah, after my situation, I did AA meetings as well, enrolled in a 9-month first offender treatment program, which got reduced to a 6-month after dealing with all of this. It's been a life-changing experience, very humiliating, made me learn a lot about being a better role model, a better person, a better father. I think this is what I would say at the AA meetings. A lot of people feel like they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I said I was at the right place at the right time because it taught me a lesson that you're not always invincible, and sometimes you need to like wake up, change your life, and become a better person. So that's where I was just 5 years ago, and this is where I am now.
Do we lose the judge again? Judge?
This is the moderator. It looks like he's muted. Oh, now his
Yes,
microphone.
I'm sorry. Looks like I disconnected again from everyone. I assume I'm the only one who lost connection.
I think so.
All right, my apologies. So clearly there's something going on with my Wi-Fi. What I'd like to do is take a short break, 5 minutes. I have a backup Wi-Fi device that I'm going to try to connect and jump right back on. So if we could take 5 minutes, everyone, I'd appreciate it. And again, apologize for the inconvenience. Hopefully there will be no further interruptions. And it looks like everyone is present. So with that said, let's go back on the record. And we are back on the record after a brief interruption due to technical difficulties. Again, my apologies, but I believe I am ready to proceed. Just looking at the video that I can see, I think I've got a much stronger connection now with my backup source. So, Dr. Sun, if you don't mind continuing and maybe backing up a bit, where I left off, you had been talking about how circumstances that you experienced it made you, it was humiliating and made you a better father, I believe, and a better man, or better role model.
Yeah, and the funny timing of this all is I have to pick up my kids. When we set up this meeting at 2 o'clock, I tried to make sure that it wouldn't go over an hour, and it's over an hour.
How much time do you have?
My probation's supposed to end in July, and I worked as hard as I could submitting this early termination or reduction 6 months ago in November, and now we're down to like the last 2 months. I've spent the past few days pulling together all my notes and everything to present to you. Sorry, it's just been hard. I'm looking.
How much time do you have, Dr. Sun?
I mean, I have time, but I'm already past time because they're going to be sitting there at the school waiting for me.
Right, and I don't think anyone here wants that. I was asking because you submitted your written petition. I'll leave it up to you. But if you like, we can simply consider what you've written and we can move quickly through questions. Or if you'd like to make it, take additional time to make a presentation, you are free to.
No, I think I've submitted everything. You have all the character letter, the reference letters on all my paperwork. I made sure that you all had everything ahead of time, but.
So would you like us to proceed with questions at this time, or would you like to make an additional presentation?
You can do questions if we can.
All right, counsel, do you have questions for the petitioner?
Yes, I'll try to keep it brief, Your Honor. Dr. Sun, did you successfully complete the terms of your criminal court probation?
Yes.
When did your probation end?
July 2020, July 10, 2020.
Did you have any violations of criminal probation?
No.
You mentioned a little bit about AA meetings. Do you currently attend AA meetings?
No.
Did you attend AA meetings?
I did.
Were those a requirement of your criminal court probation?
I began them before they required it.
Why do you no longer attend?
They let me know even at the AA meetings that I was not an alcoholic and I was just going there as a part of the requirement.
Okay. Have you attended any alcohol related rehab programs?
Yes, I did.
Which, Any other than the ones that were required by the criminal court?
No.
Have you attended any counseling other than what was required by the criminal court?
No.
Do you still drink alcohol?
No. Well,
What's your sobriety date?
I will have a drink on occasion, like a rare occasion for friends, family, birthday celebration, anniversary, things like that, but not on a regular basis.
Okay, so you do drink alcohol, just not regularly.
Yes.
When you do drink alcohol, how do you ensure that you're not going to end up driving a vehicle after that?
Yes. This I have learned about Uber and my wife, who does not drink at all, and realizing that what I did was what I thought I could do, is just drink and drive, and I've learned that that's reckless behavior. So
Thank you. And my next couple of questions are in regards to your petition that you filled out. There were a few questions where you marked yes to, and I just want a little bit of additional information. So question number 10, you answered yes in reference to, was your answer yes to in reference to your 2017 conviction? That was the subject of the accusation, or are you referring to a different conviction?
I'm trying to find yes to question 10.
It asked you if you've been convicted of a crime, and you marked
no.
yes.
No.
So the only conviction you have is that one?
Yes.
Okay. And then you also marked yes to whether you're on probation. Were you referencing this probation, or are you on probation for something else?
No, this current one.
Okay, and same question for the next one. It was, you answered yes in reference to discipline. Is that regarding this discipline, or are you disciplined in some other capacity as well?
Just this one.
Okay, thank you. Also, the character reference letters that were submitted with your petition. It appears that at least the letter from the youth pastor, James O. from South Bay Community Church, seems to be the same letter that's referenced in the decision as being submitted into evidence during the 2019 hearing. Is the reference letters the same letters that you submitted at the hearing, or are these new reference letters that were written for purposes of this petition hearing?
No, these were from previous.
Okay, so it's safe to say that none of these letter writers are aware of your current probation. Is that correct?
Correct.
Are you currently in full compliance with all the terms and conditions of your license probation?
Yes.
You've paid all your cost recovery. Is that correct?
Very much.
And your probation, as we've mentioned, is set to end in 2 months, July 18th, 2021. I'm assuming you're asking the board to terminate your petition and not reduce the terms. Is that correct?
Yes.
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. I just have one quick question before I turn questions over to the board. Did you provide a letter of explanation with your petition?
Yes, I sent over quite a bit of literature, pages and pages.
Okay, but a specific letter of explanation from you, yes?
Yes, yes,
All
I
right.
did.
Okay, that's my only question. I'll now turn it over to the board. President Mordomi, you have questions?
Well, yes, and Dr. Sun, I'm sorry I have to ask these questions, but this is perhaps a question either to the judge or to the Attorney General. I'm looking at the Attorney General's packet, and in terms of the petition, I have a 2-page petition, which seems to be forms that were filled out. And then I have letters from 2018, and that's the extent of the petition. Am I missing anything? It seems like Dr. Sun has said that he submitted other materials.
Let's go off the record and see if we can clarify the issue. I have additional materials, but I don't see in mine a statement from him. I have those, the initial petition pages, along with
2 pages.
Right, with several attachments. Is that 2 pages? Yes. 2 pages that appear to be photographs. Then I have a statement from South Bay Community Church youth pastor. Then another character reference letter from a Ruben Gallegos. Another letter from Brian Akamoto. Another letter from a Cindy Wang. A letter from the president and co-founder of the United Hearts Foundation of Thailand. A letter from Atet Shin. A letter from Dr. Kwon. A letter from Jung Kim. A letter from Paul Wang. And then I have the order of decision, the actual proposed decision from ALJ Flores.
Yeah, Judge, I have those other documents. Yes, I was asking about his petition and whether his petition was complete.
Okay.
So I do
That's
have,
what I have.
Your Honor, I do. This is Vice President Kawaguchi. Right after the photograph pages of the actual form to submit, right after that, I do have a letter from him. It's dated June 25th, 2018. I don't know if that's what you're looking for.
I don't want to jump in, but it was nice hearing Cherie Kimball earlier in this call because she's the first person I met on this. We got this started, and then it switched to Matt McKinney. Matt McKinney took over this case.
Let me stop you there in the interest of time. What we're trying to find out is if we all have the same petition packet.
So that's where I'm jumping in, is because once Matt McKinney left, I wanted to make sure that all the documents and everything were in order, like all my letters and dates of everything. They should all be there.
It does not sound like we have your full petition packet. It sounds like some of it is missing. We only have the 2-page written petition in the hearing binder. So what's in evidence right now. Now, the board members may have additional documents, but that has not been submitted into evidence. I do not have a copy of any of that information either.
I assume what you have, Ms. Alamo Latif, is the same as I have.
Yes, I submitted what I received. So I would suggest, Your Honor, is to potentially hold the record open for submission to allow some additional time in order to submit the full petition packet so the board can make the decision on all of the documents that Dr. Sun submitted.
And if this is going to take more than a couple months, then my probation ends in July anyhow. I wanted to end this within like
Okay, we understand what your interest is, and I'm not sure it would take more than a couple of months. But what I'm wondering, Ms. Alamo Latif, certainly I can leave the record open, but I think the question is, how does the board consider documents that they don't have before them in terms of making their decision? Are you suggesting that we put the entire hearing over?
I would suggest allowing a few days in order to get those documents uploaded and admitted into evidence. I will not object if we can do it that way and just get them in. I'm not quite sure how we can make this happen.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I have no issue with leaving the record open to receive the documents. I'm just wondering, how do we deliberate regarding documents that aren't before us? That's what I'm struggling with a bit. Even if they're admitted into evidence later, how do we make a decision? prior to receiving those documents, or we really shouldn't.
Well, Judge, let me throw out a crazy idea, which I'm not fully supportive of, but let me just throw. We can deliberate, leave the record. Can we begin to deliberate while leaving the record open? And if the board decides they want these additional documents, we can continue our deliberations. If the board decides we do not need the additional documents, then we'll decide on what we have.
Yes, in fact, what I think we could do is make a decision pending receipt of the documents, and then leave the record open. Maybe this is what Ms. Alamo Lateef was suggesting, and it just sort of came to me. And leave the record open, and if the board wants to deliberate further, they can notify me, or if they're fine with the decision that they made based on the documents, then we can proceed. I think we can do that without there being an issue. So in other words, we can deliberate, make a decision, a determination pending receipt of the full packet, and to the extent there are any changes that the board decides they need to make, we can wait to discuss those. And if there's no need for changes, then we don't need to have a discussion. We can close the record, and I can issue a decision.
I appreciate all the efforts. I think all I need to do is scroll back through my emails and find all the documents that were already sent.
Okay, stand by 1 second, Dr. Sun. But Ms. Alamo Lateef, do you think that works? I want to be sure I'm not missing anything here, but I think that will work as long as the record is left open until those documents are received.
I think that'll work as long as board counsel doesn't have any issues with that.
Okay, and is board counsel on the call with this?
Hi, I am. Yeah, if that's the only option, then I suppose I'm actually in consult with staff right now to see if there's anything else we can track down. But yeah, if that's the only way to make the decision, then I'm comfortable with that. Thanks.
Okay, then that is how we will proceed. And I'm not sure if that's clear to you, Dr. Song, but we're going to proceed with the materials that we have and then make arrangements. I will leave the record open. My assumption is within no more than 5 days, we should be able to receive the full copy of the petition, and then we'll proceed from there. In other words, if there's a reason to reconvene or to take any action different than what has been decided based on those additional documents, we shall, and if there isn't, then we will proceed with the determination that was made during deliberations. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right.
All right. If I can ask one more question, I apologize, Dr. Sun. I know you have kids to pick up. I have kids that I worry about too. Last question, I promise.
Excuse me.
I see the letters of recommendation that you submitted written in 2018.
Yes.
In your submission for this proceeding, did you submit any?
And I'm sorry to interrupt. Is this a question with respect to his petition? Should we be on the record for this is what I'm trying to find out, or is this just more housekeeping?
No, this is a
substantive.
We should be on the record for this question.
Okay, so let's go back on the record. And I'll state briefly, while we were off the record, we have discovered that Ms. Alamo Lateef and I, and potentially members of the board, do not all have full copies of Dr. Sun's petition. We have found what we believe is a solution, and that we will proceed with this hearing today and allow time to submit the full petition. We will deliberate as normal and make essentially a tentative determination pending receipt of the entire petition. If upon receipt of the entire petition, there's a basis to change the determination made by the board, we will take all steps necessary to do that. And if there is no basis to make a change, I will close the record and issue a decision. Understood, Dr. Song?
Yes.
And does that sound consistent with what we agreed to off the record, Council?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. So we may continue with questioning. So please continue.
I'm sorry, my last question. In the materials that you submitted, did you include any reference materials that were more recent than the 2018 letters that you submitted?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's my last question.
All right, Vice President Kawaguchi.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Dr. McIntyre?
No questions.
Okay, Ms. Bradby.
No questions.
I did not hear a response.
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Garcia?
No questions.
Dr. Tereski?
No questions for Dr. Sung, but a quick procedural question. In the event that something that does appear in the additional materials that we'll receive, are we going to have to do a public notice of another board meeting and wait the 10 days and the whole thing that's normally required, or would we be able to? How would we be able to do this?
In my understanding, everything has already been sent and done. So
Okay, stand by, Dr. Sung. I don't think that question was for you. I think that question is for one of the attorneys on the line. So I'm going to defer to board counsel.
Okay, perfect. So my understanding at this point is that the board has all the materials, that there may be some discrepancy in the materials that the AG and your ALJ has. But what that means is you should be able to make a decision on these documents today. And so I don't think a future meeting or noticing that meeting is a concern at this time.
Thank you.
Okay. I was under the impression that President Morodomi did not have all the documents. Did I misunderstand?
I hope so, but maybe he can clarify. I think when he asked the question about the 2018 letter, I think maybe that clarified. Is that right,
Well,
Mr. President?
no, I only have the 2 pages of the form petition, and Dr. San referenced another letter that he had written in support of the petition. I do not have that letter.
yeah, this goes back to Matt McKinney, and just prior to him leaving the board, I forwarded like 9 or 11 pages of material to support everything that's been going on for the past 5 years.
Right, we understand. We're trying to find a solution.
Hey, Mark, this is Jeff Garcia. The attachment from the board has 7 attachments. It's a separate file. It's labeled John S. San, Optometry 11215 PDF, dated May 17.
All right, and let's go
And
off
I
the record if we haven't already. I don't think we need all this on the transcript. So let's see if we can figure this out. But it is helpful that the board at least has full copies because it's the board's decision.
All right. And I apologize if I'm causing a problem here, but I see a photograph of page 1 of Dr. Sun's petition, a photograph of page 2 of Dr. Sun's petition, and the next letter I have is a June 25th, 2018 letter from Dr. Sun. Is that the letter that everyone is referencing as his support for this petition?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I can't say what it is because I don't have it, but that's the one I definitely don't have, and I don't think Ms. Alamo Latif does either. But if the board has full copies, I think we're just fine.
All right. Very good.
I see.
Right, so that's
in the interest of full clarity, I see a June 25th, 2018 letter from Dr. Sun, and then a July 8th, 2018 letter also by Dr. Sun. That's then it goes into a blank page, and then we have some letters of reference.
all right. If that is okay, if that is a submission, then I understand my confusion because they were dated in 2018.
Right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, so what I think I'm hearing is the board has a full copy of the petition. Do we all agree?
If it helps, that looks like it is a 40 pages, if that helps, to make sure we're on the same page, as it were.
Okay, so
that is my personal understanding, Judge.
Okay. Okay, good.
Okay, but you have 40 pages?
I do.
Okay, does everyone else on the board have a 40-page document? that it's viewing as a petition?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. That's good news, even though I don't have 40 pages. It's fine if I don't, because I'm essentially the scribe here.
There's also a separate, if maybe this will help as well, but there's a separate sort of package that's titled the hearing binder, and that's 37 pages. And that one has exhibits in it. So if that helps, why there's maybe a discrepancy there.
Right, and that's what I have,
Okay.
is I think what's been labeled as the exhibit binder. But I don't have anything else. Double checking now. Right. I don't have any other documents that are exhibits or petitions besides that. So to the extent the board has the entire packet, that is, I think, very helpful. All right, so let's go back on the record. All right, we are back on the record. And after taking care of some housekeeping during the break, I have discovered, and based on my interaction with the board members, I think we all agree that the board actually has a full copy of the petitioner's petition, although my copy may not be complete and the Deputy Attorney General's copy may not be complete. The most important thing is that the board members that are making the decision have the evidence before it to consider. So what we have done early in the hearing is we've identified the petition and marked it for evidence and moved it into evidence. And it has been identified as Exhibit 3. What I'm going to do for the purposes of this hearing is I'm going to consider the full petition packet, which I'm told is a 40-page document, as Exhibit 3 and admit it conditionally. I have not received it yet at this point, but the board has it, and I would like to receive a full copy at some point after the hearing, and I can leave the record open for that purpose. But that is our Exhibit 3, and the board has it for consideration. And so with that said, and again, in the interest of time, I would like to continue with any questions, and I think we were just about through the entire panel. So I will ask, are there any other panel members that have questions for the petitioner? If so, speak up now. All right. Well, it doesn't appear that there are any additional questions. Counsel, or Ms. Alamo-Latif, do you have any questions or additional questions for the petitioner?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Song, is there anything that you would like to add based on any questions that you've been asked or during the time that we have been here since you finished your initial presentation?
No, thank you.
Okay. Well, we thank you very much for your testimony. We appreciate it. You are excused from the witness stand. That concludes our petition hearing in this matter. The record shall remain open for 5 days. So that will be your close of business on May 26th, so that I can receive a complete version of Exhibit 3 that has been conditionally admitted. Other than that, we are finished with our hearing and we are off the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, board members.
All right, so I will turn this back over to the board. I'm not sure if there's a need for a break before deliberations or not. While we're off the record, I would like to get the estimated stop time and estimated number of pages from our court reporter, please.
Yes, Your Honor. I have stop time at 3:45, and I have estimated pages as 30.
Thank you. Do you need any spellings or clarifications at all?
I don't think so, Your Honor. I do need something from the Deputy Attorney General. Is she still on the line?
I believe so, yes.
I just needed her information, her contact information.
Board Member
Okay.
Brandvine, we're being recorded. Did the recording stop at this time?
And I can barely hear whoever was just speaking.
A couple things. One, I don't think that's necessary because you're still in open session, Member Brandvine. And number two is, at least from my vantage point, it does actually look like the AG may have exited the meeting. So in terms of contact information, we may need to have you in touch with staff to be able to contact her.
Okay, I can do that. I can go through OAH for that.
Yes, you can.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't see her on the line
Okay.
anymore.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good afternoon.
You too. Thank you very much.
All right, I'm turning this back over to the moderator at this point. Assuming the moderator is still with us.
This is the moderator, and it looks like the board president is still on the call, but he's muted.
Do you need me to do something? I'm waiting for these proceedings to end so we can go to closed session.
Okay, we're done with the petition hearings. We simply need to deliberate at this point in closed session. So I'm completely finished, and at this point, I'm a scribe, and I'm interested in what your determinations will be. And once they're clear, I can prepare I can start working.
All right, moderator, can we take us into closed session or do whatever you need to do to get us into closed session?
Yes, I have stopped the recording and I have locked the session. I dismissed the members of the public. So now I am just looking at the people in the attendees panel, and I just need confirmation that everyone that is showing in the participant panel needs to be in closed session.
So I'd like to